For this comparative study, the focus shall be on the formalist film theory, comparing two films coming from two opposite cultural backgrounds in the time period of late 80s and early 90s. The first film of my choice is USSR film Heart of a Dog, directed by Vladimir Bortka in 1988. The second film is Edward Scissorhands, directed by Tim Burton in 1991 in United States. So what exactly is formalist film theory? The formalist film theory has originated in 1920s as a way to prove to the public that film is also a form of art. This theory is based on symbolism in lighting, costumes, editing, and overall the whole production of the movies, which are meant to bring a certain message to the audience and evoke emotions by creation of certain metaphors and atmosphere. Formalist film theory, when applied to movies in different cultural contexts, might differentiate the metaphors and symbolism used to reach the movie's target audience, as the social background and the viewpoint on different things vary in different cultures. That brings us to the justification of formalist film theory, as this film theory is crucial to understand the message brought by the movies, helping us understand the discussion that the film directors are starting and the outcome that we are meant to understand. Starting from our first movie, Heart of a Dog, we firstly need to take a closer look in the geographical context at the time. For the population of the Soviet Union at the times of late 80s, life was full of changes, as the regime of USSR has loosened its strict policies a bit with the fall of Stalin. The Marxist-Leninist period was about to change. Perestroika started taking place within the Union at the time, letting people in a bit more on the capitalist regimes of the West. However, people have still lived as before, and many had been satisfied with the previous regimes. Despite that, it was clear that the goals of most people have been set to grow away from the communist regimes. And artists such as film directors finally have gotten the chance to speak out their minds about it. This is when the movie Heart of a Dog was created, and the characters like Dr. Preobrazhensky and Sharikov had firstly appeared on the screens of USSR. Even the names of the characters are hard satire of the present situation in the Soviet Union. Preobrazhensky, which in Russian is translated as transformation, is meant to uncover the biggest meaning of the movie, where the doctor himself gives up on the Soviet population, stating that there is no hope for people who like living like that, by that evoking realization in the eyes of the audience. We can also see the harsh reality that the director is trying to signify through a satirical use of camera movements, colors, cinematic shots, angles, and character settings, for instance by the use of a medium shot in this scene, as it helps portraying the division of high society, shown to be a big group of people at the time in the conference, from the middle-class worker being Sharikov in his solo shots made through the interaction. The simplicity of Sharikov is also shown through his balalaika, which he holds in this scene, which shows the lack of ambition and laziness, as it is stereotypical satire created in Slavic culture. The colors used throughout the movie as well show the lack of progress in technology development, creating a certain dull atmosphere by the use of mostly yellow colors in the world the characters live in, to be mostly dystopic, outdated, and rusty, as well as giving less room for individuality of each character, which identifies the strict socialist society standards at the time. On the other hand, as we can see, the video clip is made almost black and white with yellow undertones. It links the movie back to comedic classics like Charlie Chaplin, which helps broaden the atmosphere, matching the genre of the movie, making it more light for entertainment purposes. Other than that, we can sometimes see the very shaky camera movements putting us in the shoes of the characters, which makes it even more realistic to the audience by creating a point of view shot, as it almost gives an impression of our presence within the room that the characters are positioned to be in. That helps significantly with the comedy part of the movie, as we get to feel more connected with the characters' humorous life problems. Coming to our next movie, Edward Scissorhands, made in USA, where geographical context at the time was as well very overwhelming for the citizens. The 90s was the time of transition from the early 80s recession. Although the economy started to significantly improve, many of the people were still walking on eggshells. The movie Edward Scissorhands was introduced to the public in the early 90s by Tim Burton. The monstrous Scissorhand character had carried a lot of metaphors in himself, as well as influencing the script evolution in American entertainment cinema, similarly to Terminator 2 movie, showing the unfriendly-looking character worthy of change and acceptance by what the film director had spoken about the crime rate in America and the harshness of getting the second chance after making the wrong impression to the people around you at the times. Inspiring the target audience to be more accepting and friendly to the people different to them, explaining that sometimes the looks or even the actions of someone might not tell you the whole story about who they are. The movie's setting are located in suburbia in USA, which was quite a popular location of the people to live at the times. The pastel colors present the setting and the neighborhood to be quite vanilla, representing a specific group of Americans through a satirical metaphor easily recognized by the audience. Unlike the whole neighborhood, Edward's house is made to look old and dark, possibly trying to symbolize the conditions of life before the improvement in the economy of the country to the people and their experience in 80s, explaining why people in the neighborhood don't want to interact with the house of Edward and himself. Without the chance to change anything about his house, Edward's sculptures show the innocence and vulnerability of the character, as well as the hole in his house, telling out that he has nothing to hide or to keep to himself anymore. Long shot of Edward's empty room signifying loneliness, paired up together with a close-up of his tiny bed, show us the monstrous creation from another perspective, as a young teenager wishing about nothing more than some privacy and comfort. The posters shown to be hung up next to Edward's bed tell us about his dreams to be normal, seeking for acceptance. For example, cut out of the newspaper, "The boy was born without eyes, reads with his hands." It is a hyperbolical example of how a teenager such as Edward is trying to relate to the people outside, which as he feels he can only do by having hands. The director is making a humorous link to teenagers in real life hanging up posters of their idols in their rooms who they wish to grow up to be like, which helps the younger audience of the movie connect with Edward and feel more acceptable about their own impurities and needs of social acceptance, no matter of their looks or social background, while creating a better bond with the protagonist. Apart from that, to evoke the vulnerability from the main character and show his innocence to the audience, we get to see a lot of close-ups of his face throughout the movie. Whether that is him working, looking around his new family's house, or looking at his love interest. The film director is trying to get us as close to the main character as possible, as no one from his surroundings could, showing Edward's real emotions and dreams apart from his physical looks and the danger other people see, that cause so many limitations when interacting with someone for him. That as well helps to create intimacy with him and his love interest, showing how love can cross any barriers to be together with someone, creating a more intimate and loving moments from time to time in the movie, which differ a lot from the other, more distant shots in the movie, creating a dramatic effect. Overall, in conclusion, I would say that both movies carry a lot of symbolism in them by the use of cinematic techniques, transforming the message carried through art in multiple ways to increase the audience's interaction with the subject being spoken about. Despite the hard satire and humor being used, both movies talk about serious topics, and cognitive film theory helps them layer the interpretation of it to mix that with this form of entertainment, making it easier for the target audience to enjoy. either inspiring them or bringing the harsh reality to them in order to seek changes in the filmmakers' community.